Hello and welcome to my FPL Chips ASMR channel. Ha! Pranked, got him! But today I am here to discuss the almighty FPL Chips, what they do, how to use them, but more importantly, how to use them right. So, open your ears, open your legs to what I have to say. They don't really get you that many points and it's not really worth the hassle, that's all. Ha! Pranked again! You're so easy to get! I like it! But in FPL, there are 4 chips to play. We have the Wildcard, the Free Hit, the Bench Boost, and the Triple Captain. So today, with all the chips, I will tell you what it do, how we do, and when to do. Where I'll present to you a variety of popular strategies for all the chips, so you know how other people use them, so you can decide for yourself when to use them yourself. But before I discombobulate you with this expert FPL knowledge, you need to understand 2 simple occurrences in FPL, which are a blank game week and a double game week. Blank game weeks is when a team doesn't have a fixture in an FPL game week, such as both Manchester's not playing the first week, where the likes of Maguire is gallivanting away and not playing straight away, missing the first game, but at least he's having a nice, relaxing holiday, right? Then a double game week is usually what happens because of a blank game week, where the fixture they didn't play gets moved into another week, another one, making them have 2 FPL fixtures in 1 game week. Usually, the perfect time to play chips. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Got the hint? Right, cool. But starting with the most simple chip, being the Triple Captain. What it do? Your captain in FPL gets double points. Your Triple Captain in FPL, get this, gets triple points. Wow, who would have guessed that? How we do? You select your captain as normal and click the Triple Captain option. And you can only use this once all season. When to do? Mostly when you feel like a player will score the biggest score of the entire season. Now, unless you got a magic 8-ball inside of your skull, then it is pretty hard to guess. So usually the best time to play this is for when a player has a double game week, hopefully with both of their fixtures being quite tasty, also being a non-rotation risk player, as double game weeks usually mean 2 games within 1 actual real life week. Man United and Man City will be having a double game week as they start the season off with a blank game week, so that could be the best time to pull down your pants and whip out your little Triple Captain chip. But you don't have to wait till a double game week, but that's probably the best time to do it. Now, unfortunately, Triple Captain chip scores aren't as amazing as it seems. Because let's say the Ginger Ninja himself, Kevin De Bruyne, has a double game week against Burnley and Brighton. Now let's say he scores 1 goal in each, getting 4 bonus points altogether and a couple of clean sheets to get a massive 20 FPL points in the double game week. A very sexy score indeed, right? Now let's say you triple captained him. Triple points for him to get you 60 points. Now that seems like an amazing score, right? Triple Captain so worthy you spun everyone's jaw and you're first in the entire world, right? Well, not really. Because even if you just normal captained him, you'd get 40 points. So even though the 60 point score seems amazing, you're actually only getting an extra 20 points. And I say only because realistically, it is quite hard to get your triple captain pick right all the time because you just don't know how it's going to go. Like last year when I triple captained Mane in Liverpool's double game week, you know, the team that kind of destroyed the league last season. Also when Mane was in very good form. And then he goes and gets injured within 20 minutes, scoring me 3 points. 1 extra point from using the Triple Captain chip. So yeah, it can get you some extra points, but it's not quite season defining. It's not quite all or nothing. But you still shouldn't just splunk it early, because those little extra points could be the difference between you and second in the world. Moving on to the next chip, being the Bench Boost. What it do? In FPL, the players on your bench don't score you any points. You don't actually get their points. They get absolutely frick all big fat zeros unless you play your bench boost, which means just for 1 week, you actually get the points from the players on your bench. How we do? Select your team as normal and go ahead and smash that bench boost button. When to do? Bench boosting is one of the most varying tactical decisions in the entirety of FPL. You should bench boost when you think every player on your bench is going to score a lot, which, you know, sounds pretty easy, right? Well, Maybe not. A lot of FPL players, like myself, like to have minimum price bench players to ensure they have the best possible starting 11 they can. Now, this might mean that their bench players not only might not even play every week, but probably don't get good scores either, even in good fixtures. Now, that instantly makes it very hard to have a great bench boost without at least some work. What some managers like to do is spend a couple of weeks planning and making transfers to ensure they have players that they think will score decent points ready for that bench boost. But we kind of just mentioned the sticky pickle already, where it might take multiple weeks and transfers into it, and maybe out of it too, just to set up, only potentially might not guaranteed a better score just for 1 week. Now, a slightly easier way around this is that you can use your wildcard to set up a bench boost, so you don't have to spend weeks of transfers to set it up, or the reverse of wildcarding after your bench boost, so you don't have to have too many playing players on your bench for too long. Or take this one step further again with the absolute wacky maverick move I proposed in another video of bench boosting in game week 1 and then wildcarding straight after. Or you can simply stick to low price players on your bench for your bench boost, which probably won't return as much, but requires less effort and potentially only a couple of transfers. Probably less points, but a lot less headache. Realistically, bench boost can be the chip that actually gets you the least amount of points out of any of them, and could potentially be more of a distraction than anything. But get it right, especially in the double game week, and it could be very nice. Moving on to the absolute switcheroony, the truffle shuffle, the juggle around chips that are used to completely change your team, with the free hit and wild card. But they are both very different, so make sure you pay attention. With first, get your boxing gloves out because it's the free hit. What it do? It allows you to make unlimited transfers and have a brand new team, but make sure you pay attention for this, just for 1 week. Then after that, you will go back to the team you had before. How we do? When confirming transfers, activate the free hit button, where this can't be reversed, but you can continue making as many transfers as you'd like. When to do? Now, the free hit is one of those chips that could actually be season defining and could be the difference between you and a lot of people if done right. So the free hit allows us to have a completely new team just for 1 week. Now, you can use this for good for a variety of different reasons and use it to strategize in a bunch of different ways. You could use your free hit when there's a lot of players in your team that have a really bad fixture all at once, but you don't want to get rid of any of them, but you also don't want to have a bad week. You could use your free hit in a blank game week where half of your players aren't playing, but again, you don't want to get rid of your players. You could also use your free hit in a double game week to load out on as many fixtures as possible without having to make planned transfers for it before. Or you could do what a lot of people do and leave it to the very last week as one final push with the best possible team you can field. All of those points splattered out onto the table basically say, use the free hit when your team might not get a lot of points in 1 week, where you think a lot of other players might get a lot of points, but you don't want to actually get rid of your players. So this means it's completely relative to your own team. It might be better for you in your current selection of players to use the free hit in 1 week, where it might not be better for other managers in the same week. So this one is completely up to you what you do, but I would suggest possibly keeping it for a rainy day this season, where it's not entirely impossible we might get some fixtures postponed last minute from that spicy cold that's still going around, where I'm probably just going to use it in the last week again, unless I really need to in another week. But now, moving on to the most important chip in the game. The one that actually separates the winners from the losers. The one that separates the champions from the cheeky scrubs. The one that actually is the least wildest out of them all. It's the wild card, or actually the wild cards, as you have 2 a season, 1 before game week 17 and 1 after. What it do? The wildcard allows you to make unlimited transfers to create a new team that you then keep. How we do? When confirming transfers, activate that wildcard button, also irreversible, but can make a brand new team to keep forever. When to do? Now, the wild card can be looked at very differently depending on what kind of player you are. Some managers like to play the game by always aiming to have the best players and not plan too far ahead of when to wildcard, but just go in with the flow until they get slapped silly by 5 different players they now all want and decide that when their team needs an overhaul, slap that wildcard on and then change the team, which is how most dirty casuals play. Now, the FPL experts themselves, not me, usually plan way ahead of when they want to use their wildcard. This is because if you have a plan when you are going to get rid of most of your players to get in new ones, you can then pay more focus on the fixtures before to ensure you have good players at a certain time, and then use your wildcard to continue that on by still getting in great players, but now different players with different fixtures and could be in better form. Now that all sounds amazing, but that is a lot harder to get completely right, where even players in bad form can, still score in tough games. But obviously it all looks better on paper, so should at least make you feel a bit more confident with your team. There's no right and wrong way of when you have a swing at your wild cards, as it can all depend on how you want to play, how you strategize, and the players you actually have. But I personally would suggest at least being aware of the different strategies, and even if you don't have a concrete plan, at least be aware of when other people are planning on doing it, as you don't want to rage wildcard one week where it might actually be better to play it in a different week. So some strategies include wildcarding very early to get in all the early bandwagon players that maybe a lot of people didn't have because they weren't sure if they were going to play. And people do this to be very aggressive and try and get that edge straight at the start. Wildcarding in and out of chip strategies, such as a bench boost team like I discussed earlier. Wildcarding in big fixture swings for teams to load out on players that could score a lot, but not that many people might have. And just wildcarding when a lot of your team is underperforming, or if you just want a completely different team of players. A lot of people also wildcard during international breaks, as you have more time to think and analyse the players you might be recruiting. The wildcards are very, very important, but more in the fact you need to make the right decision of what players you bring in, rather than exactly what game week you do it in, as this can vary so much from the specific players you have in your team or will have. Also, additional rules for chips include you can't use 2 chips in 1 week, you can't use the free hit or wildcard in the first week as you have unlimited transfers anyway, you can cancel the bench boost and triple captain after you sucker punch the button, and if you don't use your first wildcard before you get your second wildcard, they don't stack and the first one disappears. So link to all the chip rules and descriptions from FPL themselves in the description. That has been me having a munch and having a chinwag with all the chips in FPL. I hope this was maybe useful, if not fun. Thanks for watching, and remember...
Don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now.